This was just last Wednesday. And keep in mind while you're listening to this, this is the guy whose administration just released 36,000 criminals back into America. 36,000 criminals who should have been deported. Barack Obama is talking to law enforcement like he's a friend of law enforcement.
Yeah, I'm here with some of the leaders of America's law enforcement agencies who recognize that fixing a broken immigration system isn't just the right thing to do, it's also the right thing to do for safety and security in communities all across America.
Okay, Barack Obama is talking about the safety and security of American citizens, and he just released 36,000 criminal illegal aliens into the United States.
The immigration system that we have right now makes it harder, not easier, for law enforcement agencies to do their jobs.
All right, I'm going to say this again. You already know this. The immigration system is not broken. It's unenforced. And what's making things harder for law enforcement is this son of a bitch releasing all these criminals back into American neighborhoods.
It makes it harder for law enforcement to know when dangerous people cross our borders. It makes it harder for business owners who play by the rules to compete when they're undercut by those who would exploit workers in a shadow economy.
If Obama and the Congress make it legal for these people who are here in America illegally to work, it's going to have an enormous impact on the job market for American citizens. Americans who are looking for work will find it that much harder to find a job.
And it makes it harder for law enforcement to do their jobs when large segments of the community are afraid to report crimes or serve as witnesses because they fear the consequences for themselves or their families. The system's not fair. It's not fair to workers. It's not fair to businesses who are trying to do the right thing. It's not fair to law enforcement agencies that are already stretched thin. Now, the good news is the Senate's already passed a bill with a wide bipartisan majority that would go a long way towards fixing a broken system. It would strengthen our borders even further. And I'm sure Jay has talked to you about the work that's been done over the last 5 years. We have put unprecedented resources at the borders.
God, now here's the part where Barack Obama tells you that he is strong on the border, that he has made the border more secure. What a fabulous heaping load of steaming bullcrap.
And you've seen the results. We have fewer folks coming in than ever before.
Can we get Barack Obama to talk about the 36,000 criminals released back into American neighborhoods? Is anyone going to ask him about that? Because this is unacceptable. And he's doing a lot of and every time he does that, he's lying. Because he knows the words that are coming out of his pie hole are lies. That's why when he starts talking about something like this that is so obviously a lie, you get a lot of freaking Obama.
And the personnel that is arrayed along our borders is well beyond anything that we saw 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So we take border enforcement seriously. But what this reform package would also do is create a firm but fair pathway to earn citizenship for those who live in the shadows. And, as a consequence, would give law enforcement a better idea of who's in the country. It would also help build trust between local communities and law enforcement and immigrant communities.
Yeah, well, okay. Again, What about these 36,000 criminals that you, Barack Obama, your administration, released back into American neighborhoods? What about those people? How does law enforcement respond to that, jackass?
It would undermine criminal enterprises that prey on undocumented immigrants. And it would allow law enforcement to focus on its primary mission, which is keeping our communities safe.
You know, this is so outrageous and so ridiculous, I can hardly contain myself. He's talking about keeping our communities safe. He's talking about helping law enforcement do a better job to keep our communities safe. And he just released all these criminals, murderers, rapists, criminals of every kind back into American neighborhoods. And he's talking about keeping neighborhoods safe. It's outrageous. The man is evil. He is wicked. This is incredible. He's standing here with a straight face talking about keeping Americans safe. It's I can't even come up with more words. I am shocked by how cold and calculated this is.
And these are some of the reasons why a broad bipartisan coalition, including law enforcement agencies like the ones who are represented today, is pushing Congress to go ahead and get the job done, get us over the finish line, and do it this year. I hope all of you keep it up because it's making a difference. A number of Republicans are realizing that blocking immigration reform is not an option, and that's the good news. And most Americans, the majority of Americans, know this is the right thing to do.
You know what? I don't see how that is true either. You know, I'll bet you, if you took a scientific poll and you said, with the release of 36,000 criminals, illegal alien criminals in mind, convicts of crime such as murder, rape, drunk driving, any number of things. With that in mind, do you think we should go ahead and have immigration reform? I will bet you the majority would be against it.
Public opinion is on our side on this. Unfortunately, we've got a handful of House Republicans right now who are blocking going ahead and letting legislation get to the floor.
They're doing the right thing. They're fighting the good fight.
To their credit, I think Speaker Boehner and some of the other leaders there do believe that immigration reform is the right thing, but they've got to have a political space that allows them to go ahead and get it through their caucus and get it done. I've said to them, if they've got ideas, I'm happy to talk to them.
There goes Obama again. Every time there is an issue like this, he says, I'm going to work with people. And if you've got some good ideas, I'm going to listen. And he never listens. He never listens. He never embraces anyone else's idea. It's got to be Obama's way.
We're not hell-bent on making sure that every letter of what's in the Senate bill is exactly what ultimately lands on my desk for signature. But there's some core principles that we got to get done. We've got to have stronger border security.
Again, Obama does not care about border security. That is the least of anything that he gives a crap about. He's lying through his teeth. He does not care about border security. Border security has not been addressed, and it will not be addressed by the Obama administration ever. They are not going to secure the borders because those people who are streaming across the border illegally are potentially big-time Democrat voters. He will never secure the border.
We've got to make sure that we are dealing with companies that are not doing the right thing by workers. We've got to make sure that we've got an improved legal immigration system because a lot of folks are getting pushed into the illegal system because the waits are so long through the legal process. And we've got to make sure that there's a way for people to earn some pathway to citizenship. And keep in mind, some of these statistics you may have already heard. It's estimated that over 80% of the folks who are here on an undocumented basis have been here 10 years or longer.
I don't care how long they've been here. The fact that someone who is an illegal alien has been here a long time, 10 years, 15, 20 years, doesn't make them any less illegal. They're still here illegally. They're still not supposed to be in this country. So I don't care how long they've been here. I don't care if their parents brought them here when they were toddlers and they had no idea and they had no choice of their own to come here. I don't care. They're still here illegally. They're still illegal aliens. They're still breaking the law. How hard is it for some of these people, like the Democrats in Washington, D.C., to understand this? They're breaking the law. They're criminals. Simply by being here, they're all criminals. There's not some of them that are criminals and others of them that are not criminals. They're all criminals because every single one of them is here illegally. Anyone who is in this country illegally is a criminal by default.
Now, these are folks who are woven into the fabrics of our communities.
I don't care.
Their kids are going to school with our kids.
I don't care.
Most of them are not making trouble.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. They're still here illegally.
Most of them are not causing crimes.
I don't care. They are committing a crime simply by being here illegally.
And yet, we put them in this untenuous position.
Wait a minute. Who put them in this untenuous position? I didn't. All of the people in Congress who are against handing out amnesty, they didn't put these illegal immigrants in this untenuous position. These people who are here in our country illegally put themselves in this untenuous position. They did it. They came here illegally. And again, those people who are here because their parents brought them over as infants, I don't care. You're still here illegally.
And it creates a situation in which your personnel who've got to go after gangbangers and need to be going after violent criminals and deal with the whole range of challenges and who have to cooperate with DHS around our counterterrorism activities, you got to spend time dealing with somebody who's not causing any other trouble other than the fact that they were trying to make a living for their families. That's just not a good use of our resources.
Yeah, right. So Obama decided, because it's not good to have law enforcement enforcing immigration laws, we'll go ahead and release 36,000 real criminals for you law enforcement people to chase down. Thank you, Mr. Obama. Thank you very much.
The Jimmy Z Show.